Have you ever longed for something so deeply it consumed every breath? She waited, she wept, she prayed, and the heavens stayed silent. But silence isn't always denial. Sometimes it's the making of a miracle, a quiet vow, an unseen battle, a promise that would change everything. How far would you go to keep your word to God? Every secret has its moment of revelation. What you're about to hear is no ordinary tale. Let this thriller story begin. The sun dipped behind the rolling hills of Ramah, casting a golden glow over the village. The air carried the scent of burning oil lamps and freshly baked bread, a familiar comfort to many. But in one household, the evening light did nothing to lift the heavy heart of a woman named Hannah. She stood by the window of her home, watching as children played in the dusty streets, their laughter piercing the silence in her heart. For years, she had longed to hear the sweet cries of her own child, to feel the warmth of tiny hands grasping her fingers. Yet, her arms remained empty. Her prayers, though countless, seemed unanswered, as if heaven itself had turned a deaf ear to her suffering. Hannah was one of two wives of Elkanah, a man devoted to God and his family. He provided for them, loved them both, yet his home was not at peace. While his other wife, Peninnah, bore him many children, Hannah remained barren. Her barrenness was not only a personal sorrow, but a public shame, a mark against her in a society where a woman's worth was often measured by the children she bore. But what made her suffering even more unbearable was Peninnah's constant cruelty. Whenever Elkanah took them to the temple for the yearly sacrifice, Peninnah would seize the opportunity to remind Hannah of her misfortune. With a smirk, she would count her children aloud, whispering to Hannah about how blessed she was, how favored. "Perhaps God has forgotten you," Peninnah would say, her words dripping with malice. "Or perhaps you are not worthy of a child." Hannah would turn away, swallowing her tears, unwilling to give Peninnah the satisfaction of seeing her pain. But at night, when the house was silent, she would weep until her pillow was damp with sorrow. Elkanah, seeing her distress, tried to comfort her. One evening, as they sat together, he touched her hand gently. "Hannah," he said, "why do you weep? Why do you not eat? Why is your heart so sad? Am I not better to you than 10 sons?" His love was sincere. His words meant to heal, but they could not silence the ache in her soul. Hannah wanted a child, not just for herself, but to fulfill the deepest desire of her heart, to give her son to God, to dedicate him to the one who had the power to open and close the womb. Year after year, Elkanah took his family to the tabernacle in Shiloh to worship and offer sacrifices. But one year, something in Hannah broke. The weight of her sorrow, the unrelenting whispers of doubt and shame, became unbearable. She could no longer smile through the pain, could no longer pretend that she was content with her lot. While others feasted, celebrating their blessings, Hannah slipped away. She made her way to the sacred temple, her steps slow but determined. Kneeling in the dimly lit sanctuary, she let go of the restraint she had always maintained. Her body trembled as she poured out her heart before the Lord. Her fingers dug into the temple floor, her lips moved in silent agony, though no voice came forth. Her entire being cried out in desperation. "O Lord of hosts," she whispered, her tears falling freely, "if you will indeed look upon the affliction of your maidservant and remember me and give me a son, then I will give him back to you all the days of his life, and no razor shall touch his head." Unbeknownst to Hannah, the high priest Eli had been watching her from the shadows. He saw her lips moving, but heard no words. Misunderstanding her anguish, he assumed she was drunk and spoke sharply. "How long will you be intoxicated? Put away your wine." Hannah looked up, startled, her face streaked with tears. "No, my lord," she whispered, shaking her head. "I'm a woman deeply troubled. I have not been drinking wine or strong drink, but I have poured out my soul before the Lord. Do not consider your servant a wicked woman, for out of my great anguish and grief I have spoken." Eli, realizing his mistake, softened. He saw the raw pain in her eyes, the fervency in her heart, and he knew this was no ordinary prayer. He placed his hand upon her head and spoke a blessing over her. "Go in peace," he said, his voice gentler now, "and may the God of Israel grant your petition." A stillness settled over Hannah. The storm inside her seemed to quiet, replaced by a sense of peace she had not known before. She rose to her feet, wiped her tears, and walked away, not with sorrow, but with hope. In the months that followed, Hannah's prayers were answered. She conceived and bore a son. The moment she held him in her arms, she knew this was the child she had asked for, the child God had given her, and he would not be hers to keep. She named him Samuel, meaning asked of God. Every time she whispered his name, she remembered the night she had knelt in the temple, the night she had made her vow. When Samuel was weaned, Hannah kept her promise. With a mixture of joy and heartbreak, she made the journey back to Shiloh, carrying her young son in her arms. Before Eli, she spoke words that must have made his heart tremble with wonder. "I am the woman who stood here praying to the Lord," she said. "For this child I prayed, and the Lord has granted my petition. Now I give him to the Lord. As long as he lives, he is lent to the Lord." With that, she placed her son in the care of the priest and walked away, her heart both full and empty. She had given up the very thing she had prayed for, but in doing so, she had fulfilled her purpose. Samuel grew to become one of Israel's greatest prophets, anointing kings and leading the nation with wisdom and righteousness. But his story began with a mother's unwavering faith, a faith so strong that she gave up the very thing she had longed for. And God did not forget Hannah. In the years that followed, he blessed her with more children, 3 sons and 2 daughters. Her story became a testament to the power of faith, the pain of sacrifice, and the miracles that follow when a heart fully surrenders to God. Even today, Hannah's name is remembered as a symbol of perseverance and divine favor. She was a woman who gave her son to God, and in doing so, helped shape the destiny of a nation.